Welcome in. I'm going to be showing my solution to level 7 of Harry Seider's case, I'm Just Wild About Harry, that we just competed on in the Microsoft Excel World Championship Road to Las Vegas Battle Number 3. Level 7 goes as follows. These monkeys, bears, and ducks are so gross. Harry Gross is a prolific case writer with a fascination for monkeys. Using the map on the Level 7 tab, determine the following. Determine the minimum number of moves it takes a character to get an item to get to the item shown and then to the ending location. Don't count the starting position. Each character can only move in certain directions and only Howard can swim. All characters can walk on land and sand. So these are the characters. We have Lana, Hannah, Howard, Chaos, Mo, and Winnie. They're either monkeys, ducks, or bears, and they can only move in these specified directions, and only Howard can swim. And for each game, we're given a character, a starting location, the item that they need to find, and the ending location, and those can all be found on this map. So the starting location of Q20, we need to get to the banana, which is here in AK9, and the ending cell, we need to go down to AM36 to finish the game. So in this, before I get started on writing any formulas, I need to do a little bit of prep work. I'm going to be using iterative calculations to move across the map, so I need to make sure that iterative calculations are enabled. I'm going to be naming some ranges just so I can reference them later. I'll do characters, CHR, allowed direction of movements, I'll call that allowed, and can move over water, I'll call that swim. I am also going to be referencing this entire thing as MP. The entire map is MP. One of the critical cases that I need to concern myself with is we can move over land and sand, but not all characters can move over water. So I'll need to be able to reference what water is. Because the water is blue, I can see it, but I can't formulaically reference a blue cell. So I need either a value or a blank. And because there's land cells and sand cells that are blank, I'm going to fill in the water with a character, and I'm going to do it with fish. So I'm just going to do a find and replace. I'll find everything that's blue and put in a fish. Just do it over this specific area, and I'll zoom in because find and replace works faster when I'm zoomed in. There we go. I got to be careful zooming out on big colorful maps like these, or just zooming out on Excel sheets in general. I can get the scroll out of death once I get to around 25% zoom and it'll freeze everything up. And I'm sure everyone else has that too. So for this map case, because we're going to need to get to two different locations, I'm planning on doing this across two different maps over here, which will track the number of steps it'll take to get to the item and to get from the item to the end. So this first map will be the number of steps to get to the banana, and the second map will be the number of steps it'll get to the end cell from the banana. I put this offset because in this formula, I'm going to want to calculate the distance from the cells around it and take the smallest number from all the cells around it. And because I don't want to deal with any pound ref errors at the top, I offset this map by a little bit. Now, a lot of people are uncomfortable doing this with a bit of an offset map. I see a lot of people put a map on a new tab to align the addresses. I like seeing everything all together. So for the address issue, I'm just going to put the addresses down here. I'll paste this down here so we can see them clearly. But to get the addresses of everything on the map, I'm just going to do a map formula of MP and reference every, take every reference within the map and get the address using the row of that reference, the column of that reference, and returning the relative reference. So now this grid has the address of everything within our original map. I'm just going to call this MP add so I can reference it later. And before I get into counting the number of steps, I need to pull in the data that we're going to work with. So I'm going to do the beginnings of a data table. So with example 7, we're going to XLOOKUP example 7, case B through B, to pull in, to look for the game number or the example number, and pull in the data from case G through J, which will be all the data I need. So we have Lana starting in Q20, looking for a banana, and ending in cell AM36. We also want to know, just on this tab, what Lana's available moves are. So we'll look up Lana in the characters and bring back what's allowed. And we want to know if she can swim. So I look up Lana in the characters and look up if she can swim. So my solution that I thought of in my head but wasn't able to fully implement on game day was that I could do a generic movement formula but just filter out all the different cells that aren't in the allowed set of moves. So what I can do is I can take Howard's movement, which has all of the different directions. I can split that up. Let's do a mid sequence length to get all the different arrows from that. Use that same formula to get all the different arrows that Lana can move on. And check to see if these arrows exist in the allowed arrows. Using is number X match to pull in falses and trues. So down doesn't exist, left, right, left. Up does exist, up left does not, up right does not, but down right and down left do, which is confirmed looking at this set of arrows. So now I have my filter criteria for when I will do my movement calculations. So to start that off, start off with an if. If, and align this with the grid, the cell on the other map, if this is equal to the item that we're looking for, then the number of moves we take to get to that item is 0. So if we start on the item, it takes 0 moves to get to the item. Next, we need to account for the animals that cannot swim. If this is equal to a fish, let's just hard code that value, and our animal cannot swim, then we just want to put in a blank. If we put in a blank, then it automatically won't be considered in the minimum formula that I'll be using for the movement. We need to lock this in. So we've considered the base case scenario of the item. We've considered the water cells where some animals can't move. If none of those criteria are met, then we'll take our movement. And our movement will be a minimum of a filtered list of cells. We have to select the filtered list of cells in the same order that we have this arrow table, because we're going to be pulling this as our criteria for the filter. So we got to pull the down cell first, then go right, left, up left, up right, down left. And then we can pull in our filter criteria and lock that in. Once we get the minimum, we need to add 1, because it'll take 1 step from the smallest space to get to the cell that we're looking at. And we can close out our formula. So this pulls in blank, which is what we expect because we're in water and Lana cannot swim. We should be able to copy this entire formula, or this formula, across the entire map here. And there we go. This 0 right here is marking where the banana is on the map. And these numbers will represent how many steps it takes to get to the banana. And just a logic sense check, we have 3 ones around here. So if we were in this cell, we could take 1 step up because up is allowed. From this cell, we can take 1 step down and to the right because down and to the right is allowed. And same thing with down to the left. If we were above it, Lana can't move down, but she can move down to the right, down and to the left, and then up, which takes 3 steps, which makes sense why this is a 3. So this map is getting from the starting cell to the banana because we can see these numbers correspond to getting to the banana. What we need to do with this second map is we're not going to the banana anymore. We're going from the banana. So all of it needs to be inverted. So I'm going to take this. I'm going to paste this in here. But instead of this order of cells, I need to do it in the opposite order, or the inverted order of these arrows. So our first arrow is down, so I need to look at the up cell. Then I can look at the left, then the right, then down right, then up, no, down left, then up right, or up left, then up right. Again, this gives us blank, which is good because it's still in the water and Lana still can't swim. Paste this across. Let's just do formula so we can see the map. And we'll paste this across. And we can see that now that the ones are in inverted position. So now from the banana, Lana can move up, she can move down left and down right. So now we have our 2 maps. I'll call this map A. I'll call this map B. And now I just need to find these specific cells, Q20, the starting cell in here, which will tell me how many steps it'll take from this cell to get to the banana. And I need to find AM36 in map B to find how many steps it'll take to get from the banana to AM36. And the way I can do that is using the addresses that I created earlier. So I'll do an XLOOKUP of this address against my flat list of addresses and look up to MPA, which is the distance to get from Q20 to the banana. And then to get the total number of steps, I have to look up the same thing, but to MPB and look up to AM36. And I get 80, which matches the example. So now I can put this into a data table of all of these numbers. For instance, example 7 right there. Cross my fingers because it's always a hope and a prayer that your data table works correctly. And we have our numbers. Paste them in here. And hope for the green check marks. We got it. And that's how you solve level 7 of Harry's. I'm just wild about Harry's case from the Microsoft Excel World Championship Road to Las Vegas battle number 3. Thanks for joining.